we are going to discuss about the topic of velocity selector. Velocity selector. Before going to discuss about this topic of velocity selector, once again we recall the basic. That is, whenever a charged particle is entered in the presence of both electric field as well as the magnetic field, it will experience simultaneously electrostatic force as well as the force by the magnetic field. This total force already we called as Lorentz force. So what is the meaning of Lorentz force? The net force experienced by the charged particle, the net force experienced by the charged particle in the presence of both electric field as well as the magnetic field. That force is given by F bar is equal to E bar into Q, E bar into Q, and Q into V bar cross V bar. So this net force we are calling as a what? This net force we are calling as a what? Lorentz force. F bar is equal to what? E bar into Q, E bar into Q plus Q into V bar cross V bar. This is the total force experienced by the charged particle in the presence of both the electric field as well as the magnetic field. Then, what is the meaning of velocity selector? What is the meaning of velocity selector? So, in this velocity selector, we are choosing the values of, in the velocity selector, we are choosing the value of magnitude of the electric field intensity, magnitude of the electric field intensity, as well as the magnitude of the magnetic field intensity, as well as the magnitude of the magnetic field intensity, for which purpose means the charged particle should not be deviated. The charged particle should not be deviated while it will be passing through the combined fields. Such a type of principle we are calling as a what? Velocity selector. Once again I will tell the definition of the velocity selector. Velocity selector is the principle. Velocity selector is the principle. In this velocity selector, what we are doing that? We are choosing the values of magnitude of the electric field intensity as well as the magnitude of the magnetic field intensity. We are choosing the values of magnitude of electric field intensity as well as the magnitude of the magnetic field intensity for the charged particle will be getting undeviated. While it will be passing through the combined fields. This is the main principle of the velocity selector. Here we are assuming the case that is, we are consider both the fields. So one is electric field, another one is a what? Magnetic field. So in this special case, in this velocity selector case, we are assuming that both the electric field as well as the magnetic fields are acting right angles to each other. While in the principle of the velocity selector, what is our assumption is that? Our assumption is that the two fields, so one is the electric field as well as the magnetic field, will be acting right angles to each other. Such a type of fields are also called as crossed fields. Which fields? Crossed fields. That means if they mentioned that the two fields are said to be crossed fields, means what we have to understood, those two fields are acting right angles to each other. Such a type of fields we are saying as what? Crossed fields. So here I am assuming that this is the x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. X-axis, y-axis and z-axis. I am assuming that electric field intensity will be acting along the y-axis. Whereas the magnetic field will be acting along the positive z-axis. And one more assumption is that the charged particle will be traveling with a velocity v bar. And that should be moving perpendicular to both the fields. So once again, how the charged particle motion be assumed here? The charged particle will be traveling in a direction. Which is perpendicular to both the fields. So one is electric field as well as the magnetic field. We assume assume electric field will be acting along the y-axis and the charged particle will be moving along the x-axis. That means V bar is a perpendicular to E bar, V bar is a perpendicular to E bar, and the magnetic field vector V bar is acting along the positive z-axis and the velocity vector V bar was represented along the x-axis. Again, this V bar comma V bar, V bar comma V bar are also perpendicular to each other. That means we have to understand the point. While you are discussing about the topic of velocity selector, we have to keep in mind, all V bar, E bar and V bar. V bar, E bar and V bar all are mutually perpendicular to each other. This is the assumption we have to assume while we are discussing the topic of velocity selector. Now, here what we assume here, this charged particle was entered into the crossed fields. That means automatically some external force is exerted by the electric field as well as the external force exerted by the magnetic field also. Now I will write force exerted by the electric field is F electric field bar is equal to E bar into Q. So E bar means what? Electric field is represented in the vector notation. Here the electric field is acting along which axis? Positive y-axis. So that I will write F electric field is equal to E into Q, where E denotes the magnitude of the field intensity. E denotes what? Magnitude of field intensity, and Q is denoting the magnitude of the charged particle, magnitude of charge. Now, so here electric field will be acting along the positive y-axis, means force is also acting along the positive y-axis. If you assume Q will be the positive, therefore F electric I will be writing as F electric is equal to what? EQ into J cap. J cap is denoting what? J cap is a unit vector which will be representing the direction of a given vector quantity. So force is also acting along the positive y-axis. Force is also acting along the positive y-axis. So I find the direction of the force which is exerted by the electric field. Now I want to calculate the magnetic field is also exerting some external force over the charged particle, and also I want to calculate along which direction that a magnetic force will be existing. So here F magnetic is equal to, first we will write the general formula, Q into V bar cross V bar. Q into what? V bar cross V bar. So what is the direction of the F magnetic? Here Q is a scalar. It has any particular, it does not having any particular direction. So F magnetic will be existing in the direction of cross product of V bar and V bar. Once again, the direction of the F magnetic will be depends upon the direction of the cross product of V bar and V bar. So see here, V bar will be acting along the x-axis. That means its unit vector will be taken as a what? I cap. V bar will be acting along which axis? X-axis. Its unit vector will be taken as a what? I cap. Next, B bar. This V bar will be acting along which axis? Z-axis, and its unit vector is equal to K cap. V bar unit vector is equal to I cap and V bar unit vector is equal to what? K cap. Here V bar cross V bar is there. Just we are going to know the direction only. That's why in the place of V bar cross B bar, I am substituting their directions only, their unit vectors only. So I cross K cap. I cap cross K cap. So in the cross product we know well, I cap cross J cap is equal to K cap. So if you consider I cross J is equal to K, J cross K is equal to I, K cross I is equal to J. So K cross I is equal to what? J. But here we have I cap cross K cap. I cap cross K cap. If you know K cap cross I cap is equal to plus J, I cap cross K cap value is equal to minus J cap. Minus J cap. Once again, this is the basics of the cross product. I bar cross J bar is equal to K. J cross K is equal to I. K cross I is equal to J. But here we have I cross K. I cross K value is equal to I cross K value is equal to what? Minus J cap. Minus J cap. Therefore, the force due to the magnetic field will be given by its magnitude value can be written as BQV. Its magnitude is equal to cross product magnitude is equal to what? BQV. Why? Here V bar comma B bar will be acting right angles to each other. The theta value should be is equal to 90. Cross product is equal to VB sin 90. Sin 90 value is equal to 1. That's why I am writing directly. Its value is equal to magnitude value is equal to what? BQV, and its direction is equal to what? Minus J cap. Minus J cap. Minus J cap means the direction of the force, which is exerted by the magnetic field will be acting along negative y-axis. If you observe these two equations, force due to the electric field will be acting along the positive y-axis, and the force due to the magnetic field will be acting what? Along the negative y-axis. That means, so here the force due to the electric field will be acting along the positive y-axis, and the force due to the magnetic field will be acting along the negative y-axis. That means these two forces are always acting along opposite directions. These two forces are acting in which direction? These two forces are always acting in the opposite direction. If any two vector quantities will be acting in the opposite direction, their resultant force will be given by their vector subtraction. So here these two forces will be acting in the opposite direction. So the net force is equal to what? We will write EQ into J cap. And the second force is what? Minus the BQV into J cap. EQ into J cap minus BQV into J cap. So here the J cap will be the common factor. So EQ minus the BQV, this term will be indicating the magnitude. This term will be indicating what? Magnitude into J cap. So the equation number 3 is indicating what? The equation number 3 is indicating that when the charged particle is entered into the crossed field, that term is very, very important. What is the meaning of the crossed fields? The two fields will be acting always perpendicular to each other. At that time, the resultant force experienced by the charged particle is equal to what? AQ minus BQV into J cap. But while we are saying the definition of the velocity selector, we told that in the velocity selector, we are assuming that the charged particle should be undeviated and deviated while it is passing through the crossed fields. If the charged particle should not be deviated means the net force acting on the charged particle should be equal to 0. The condition for the undeviation of the charged particle means what? The net force acting on the charged particle should be is equal to 0. Then only the charged particle should not be deviates. So in the equation number 3, if you substitute F net is equal to 0, you get EQ minus BQB is equal to 0. EQ minus BQB is equal to 0. Therefore, EQ is equal to BQB. QQ will be getting cancelled. Therefore, you got the equation. V is equal to E by B. V is equal to what? E by B. That only we told at the definition of the velocity selector. What we told? We have to choose the magnitude of the electric field as well as the magnetic field. The magnitude of electric field as well as the magnetic field. By how? For getting undeviated while it is traveling in the crossed field, so that the final required condition for the charged particle should not be deviated in the presence of both electric field as well as the magnetic field is the velocity of the charged particle. The velocity of the charged particle must be equal to the ratio of magnitude of both the electric field as well as the magnetic field. So this is the topic of velocity selector. Just 2 points we have to remember here. In the velocity selector, what is the condition is required? The condition is that the net force acting on the charged particle is equal to what? 0, and the charged particle should not be deviated while it is passing through the crossed fields. That is also important. Crossed fields means they will be acting perpendicular to each other. This is about what? Velocity selector. The next topic is cyclotron. It's a very important question for the board point of view. So here, cyclotron is a device which is working on the principle of velocity selector. So in the velocity selector, what we consider here? In the velocity we consider crossed fields. We consider what? Crossed fields. Here also, in the cyclotron, we consider that there are two strong electromagnets. We consider what? Two strong electromagnets. One is a north pole and the other one is a what? South pole. So, by using this strong electromagnet having the north pole as well as the south pole, we are producing the external magnetic field. Next, and we consider another device like D1, D2 are there. D1, D2. Here, D1, D2 are two metallic discs. D1, D2 are what? Two metallic discs. Because those structures are in the shape of the letter capital D. That's why we are calling them as what? Metallic discs. Inside the metallic disc, hollow space was there. So in the construction of the cyclotron, first we consider what? Electromagnets. One is having the north pole and another one is the what? South pole. So the purpose of the north and the south pole is we have to apply a very strong external magnetic field. We have to apply what? A very strong external magnetic field. In between the north pole and the south pole, we put two devices that is calling as what? Discs. D1, D2 are indicating what? Two metallic discs. Inside the two metallic discs, hollow space will be there. And these two metallic discs D1, D2 will be connected to the D1, D2 are connected to high frequency oscillator. That means here to produce the electric field, a source is needed. That's why these metallic discs D1, D2 will be connected to the high frequency oscillator AC source. So one AC source is considered. To that AC source, we connected a metallic disc D1, D2 will be connected. So here we are choosing what? AC source. AC source. AC source means its direction will be continuously changes. Its direction will be what? Continuously changes. Now, so in between the two Ds, we place a particle P. We place what? A particle P. Here, in the case of the cyclotron, which type of charged particles we have to consider means, in the case of the cyclotron, we have to choose the positively charged particles. Always we have to choose what? Positively charged particle. So in the cyclotron, we can't use the electrons or the negatively charged particles. We can't use in the case of the cyclotron, as well as a neutral charged particle like a neutron also can't be used in the case of the cyclotron. So which type of charged particles we have to use? Positively charged particles like proton, next deuteron and helium particles. Such type of charged particles we have to use in the case of the cyclotron. Once again, see what is a cyclotron? Cyclotron is a device which is working on the principle of velocity selector. So in the velocity selector, we consider the case the two fields are always right angles to each other. And what is the main purpose of using this cyclotron device means? By using the cyclotron device, we have to produce accelerated and high energetic charged particles. This is the main aim of cyclotron. What is the use of the cyclotron? By using the cyclotron, we have to accelerate the charged particle and also producing the high energetic accelerated charged particle. For this purpose, we are using the cyclotron. So its construction also we already explained. It is having the north pole, south pole. By using this north and south pole, we are producing which type of field? External strong magnetic field we are producing, and these D1, D2 are connected to the high frequency oscillator. By using the high frequency oscillator, we are also producing the electric field in between the D's, D1, D2. Now, I am assuming that at the point P, a positively charged particle was placed. At the point P, which type of charged particle we kept? Positively charged particle was kept. So, because we consider it is a AC source, its vibrations, the direction of the vibration of the particle continuously changes. That's why for the positive half cycle, the D1 becomes a positive. For the positive half cycle of the applied AC, the D of D1, this D1 will be acting as a what? Positive plate. And metallic D2 will be acting as the negative plate. So for the first positive half cycle, this D1 will be acting as a positive plate and this D2 will be acting as a negative plate. So for the next half cycle means for the negative half cycle, D1 will be acting as the negative plate and the D2 will be acting as the positive plate. This point we have to remember in the working of the cyclotron. Once again, for the first positive half cycle of the applied AC, this D1D will be acting as the what? Positive plate, and for the first positive half cycle, this D2 will be acting as the negative plate. So one is acting as the positive plate, another one is acting as a what? Negative plate. And moreover, we consider which type of a charged particle was kept here? Positively charged particle. So that due to its polarity of having the positive charge, it is attracted by the second D having D2. So because it is having what? Positive charge, and D2 will be having the negative charge, so that the positively charged particle will be attracted by the D2. Attracted by the D2 means, so there will be some electrostatic force of attraction will be acting. Electrostatic force of attraction will be acting over the charged particle. So that a force of magnitude will be taken as F is equal to AQ. F is equal to what? AQ. According to the Newton's second law, we will write MA is equal to EQ. So A is equal to EQ by M. A is equal to what? AQ by M. Why I wrote this equation means, by the electric field, the charged particles are always to be accelerated. So what point we have to remember? Whenever you are considering the electric field, in the case of the cyclotron, the nature of the electric field is, it will only accelerating the charged particle. So what is the work of, what is the nature of the electric field means, the electric field will be accelerating the charged particles. So like this, we have to calculate the acceleration of the charged particle also. Once the charged particle will be accelerated, by the application of the electric field, this charged particle will be entered inside the D2, because the first is attracted by the D2 metallic disc, so that the charged particle will be entered inside the D2. Now here one more point we have to remember, that the construction of the discs are shielded. What is the meaning of shielding? Inside the disc, electric field intensity does not be existing. How the metallic discs are constructed means, the metallic discs are shielded off by the electric field. That means what? Whenever the charged particles are entered inside the metallic disc, over that charged particle, there was no influence of the electric field. So inside the metallic disc, only magnetic field effect will be there. This point we have to remember. Inside the metallic disc, electric field influence should not be existing. Only magnetic field influence will be existing. Okay. Now, whenever the charged particle will be entered into the metallic disc, from the given diagram. So this is the direction of the motion of the charged particle. If you look at the diagram, the charged particle will be moving horizontally at this point. So the direction of the motion of the charged particle is along the horizontal direction, and the direction of the magnetic field will be always acting from north pole to the south pole. Direction of the magnetic field is always acting from north pole to the south pole. So the magnetic field is always acting vertically downwards. Now you look at this diagram. In which direction the charged particle was entered into the magnetic field means, the charged particle will be entered into the magnetic field by perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field. So if any one of the charged particle is entered into the magnetic field perpendicular to its direction, already we discussed in which path the charged particle will be. In which path the charged particle will be moving means along the circular path. circular path. Already we discussed. If the charged particle will be entered into the magnetic field along its direction or a parallel, anti-parallel, in which path it was traveling? In the straight line path. Suppose if the charged particle will be entered into the magnetic field perpendicular to its direction, so the charged particle will be traveling along the circular path, so that whatever the charged particle is entered inside the D of D2, so it is moving along which path? Circular path. But the construction of the D will be in the form of the semicircle, so that the charged particle will be completing half of the revolution in the D2, and then after it is coming out from the D of D2, after completing the half of the revolution. Already we told that we consider which type of the source we consider here? We consider the AC source. What is the meaning of the AC source? Alternatively, its direction will be changes. Already I told, for the first positive half cycle, the metallic D1 will be acting as the positive plate and the D2 will be acting as the negative plate. So after completion of the half of the revolution, means half of the cycle is completed. For the next half cycle, this D1 will be acting as the negative plate. That D1 will be acting as a what? Negative plate, and this D2 will be acting as the positive plate. After the completion of half of the revolution inside the D2, the sign of the alternating current was changed. Because of that, the metallic D1 becomes to what? Negative plate. Metallic plate D1 becomes to what? Negative plate. And the metallic D2 becomes to what? Positive plate. Again, the nature of the charged particle is here is the positive charge, and here D1 now it is acting as a negative plate. That's why once again this charged particle is attracted by the metallic D of D1, and so as a result of the electric field, as a result of the application of the electric field, once again this charged particle will be getting accelerated. Accelerated. Here one more point we have to remember, that whenever the charged particle will be getting accelerated, its energy will be increases. If the energy of the charged particle will be increases, its radius is also to be increases. Once again, whenever the charged particle will be accelerated, its energy will be increases. Accelerated means what? Its velocity increases. Velocity increases means its kinetic energy is also increases. That only we know. Whenever it is accelerated, its energy will be increases. Whenever its energy will be increases, the path radius is also to be increases. Why? What is the reason? Already we know that whenever the charged particle is moving along the circular path, we have the formula for the radius. R is equal to mv by dq. So I will write in terms of the energy. So R is equal to under root of 2me by dq. So whenever the energy will be increases, from this relation what we told means its path radius is also increases. That point we have to remember in the case of the cyclotron. Once again, whenever coming to the D1, so because it is attracted by the electric field, so that once again the charged particle will be, accelerated. Once it is accelerated, energy will be increases. If the energy will be increases, radius is also increases. So whatever the application we told up to now, this process will be goes on continuously going on. As a result, the radius value will be continuously increases. Radius value will be continuously increases means the energy of the charged particle is also increases continuously. Like that, whatever the charged particle we consider initially, those charged particles are accelerated. Those charged particles are what? Accelerated, and also we increase their energy. By using the device cyclotron. So here we have to remember some of the formulas in the case of the cyclotron. First one is that radius of the charged particle while it was revolving in the circular path. What is the radius of the charged particle here? Radius r is equal to mv by dt. In terms of the energy, r value is equal to under root of 2 mv by dt. R is equal to what? Under root of 2 mv by dt. And one more formula we have to remember here. In the presence of the magnetic field, here the charged particle will be revolving along the spiral path. So that what is the time taken by the charged particle? To complete one revolution is that the time period will be given by t is equal to what? 2 pi m by dt. T is equal to what? 2 pi m by dt. And we also know the formula for the frequency. Frequency is reciprocal of the time period. Therefore, frequency of revolution is given by bq by 2 pi m. Frequency of revolution is given by how much? F is equal to bq by 2 pi m. So this is about working of this cyclotron. Very important question. So here one point we have to remember that cyclotron will be applicable for which type of charged particles? Proton, deuteron and helium particle. And this cyclotron should not be applicable for which type of charges means one is the electron and the another one is a what? Neutron. So for the negatively charged particles as well as chargeless particles, the cyclotron should not be applicable. So this is about cyclotron topic. The next topic is Biot-Savart law. So it's a very important for the theory as well as JEE NEET point of view. So what is the need of the Biot-Savart law? Before going to discuss about the need of the Biot-Savart law, once again we recall about Oersted principle. So what is the Oersted principle says that according to the Oersted principle, he noticed that around the current carrying conductor magnetic field will be existing. So just he given the theoretical analysis only, he didn't derive any definite formula for finding the magnetic field intensity at a given point whenever certain amount of current is passing through the current carrying conductor. He just theoretically explained that around the current carrying conductor magnetic field will be there. By that magnetic field only that a magnetic needle was deflected. But so the scientists Biot and Savart, these two scientists are done so many number of experiments. After that they concluded one equation. So they find one equation to find the magnetic field intensity magnitude at a given point from the current carrying conductor. That equation is nothing but Biot-Savart law. Biot-Savart law. So Biot-Savart law is giving what? If you know the amount of the current which is flowing through the given current carrying conductor at a given point, you are able to calculating how much field will be existing. That is given by the Biot-Savart law. So according to the Biot-Savart law, they consider AB is a current carrying conductor. So they consider what? AB is a what? A current carrying conductor. In that current carrying conductor, how much current will be flows? How much current will be flows? They assume I amount of current is flowing through the current carrying conductor. So if you go to the basic again, once you consider the Einstein principle, around the current carrying conductor, magnetic field will be existing. Magnetic field will be existing. In that magnetic field, they consider a point P. They consider a point P which is at a distance of small r, from the small element dl, So while they are doing the experiment, they didn't consider entire length of the current carrying conductor, So just they consider the small element whose length will be is equal to what? dl. So from the element dl, they considered a point P which is at a distance of small r, and here theta we consider. What is the theta? Theta is angle between dl and small r. So what is the theta here? For the small length dl, so that dl will be assuming as a displacement also here. So theta is the angle between the two vectors. One is small element dl bar and the position vector r bar. So theta is denoting what? Angle between the small element dl bar as well as the what? Position vector r bar. Now according to the Biot-Savart law, the magnitude of magnetic field intensity, at the point P due to the element dl, they will be assuming as what? dB. So here dB is indicating what? dB is indicating the magnitude of magnetic field intensity, at a point P. So dB is indicating what? The magnitude of the magnetic field intensity at the point P due to the current flowing through the small element dl. So from their observations, what they find is this dB is directly proportional to the I. That dB value is about directly proportional to I. If a current value will be increases, the amount of the magnetic field intensity is also what? Increases. That's why they wrote dB is directly proportional to what? I. And dB is also directly proportional to dl. dB is also directly proportional to what? dl. The length of the element. dB is directly proportional to what? Length of the element. And dB is also directly proportional to sine angle between, dB is also directly proportional to what? Sine angle between dl bar as well as r bar. So dB is directly proportional to what? Sine theta. And also dB is directly proportional to 1 by r square, or dB is inversely proportional to square of distance between the small element dl as well as the point P. So what they concluded that dB is directly proportional to I, dB is directly proportional to dl, dB is directly proportional to sin theta, and dB is inversely proportional to square of the distance between the dl and the point P. Now by combining all these equations, we will write dB is directly proportional to I dl sin theta by r square. By combining all the four equations, we will write dB is directly proportional to what? I dl sin theta by r square. So if you want to eliminate the proportionality, we are going to introduce a proportionality constant dV is equal to mu naught by 4 pi. The proportionality constant value is equal to how much? Mu naught by 4 pi. So dV is equal to what? Mu naught by 4 pi ideal sin theta by r square. dV is equal to what is the final formula? dV is equal to mu naught by 4 pi ideal sin theta by r square. That above equation is indicating the Biot-Savart law. That above equation is indicating what? Biot-Savart law. So this value is giving only the magnitude of the magnetic field intensity, at the point P, due to the current which is flowing through the small element dl. So if you want to represent this magnetic field intensity value in the vector notation, how can we write? See, what is the magnitude here? dB is equal to, the magnitude value is equal to what? dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi ideal sin theta by r square. So the above equation is giving the amount of the magnetic field intensity was existed at that point only. If you want to represent in the vector notation, you must represent the direction of the magnetic field also. Here, the direction will be represented by the unit vector. The direction was represented by what? Unit vector. So r cap is representing unit vector of the position vector. Now the same equation can be written as mu naught by 4 pi ideal sin theta by r square. This r cap will be written as r bar by modulus r bar. Since the definition of the unit vector is given by r cap is equal to r bar by modulus of r bar. Now modulus of r bar is nothing but r. So this equation becomes to what? Mu naught by 4 pi. So in the denominator, this value is already, we have r square, and this value is equal to what? R square into r cube. So the above term can be written as I is the scalar quantity. So it can be written in the vector notation as dl bar cross r bar by r cube. So it is the representation of vector representation of the Biot-Savart law is dV bar is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I into dl bar cross r bar by r cube. For the small amount of the length, dl will be acting as a vector quantity. And r is nothing but a position vector. So dl bar cross r bar by r cube. This is about Biot-Savart law. Thank you.